Princess Mononoke, a film I've returned to many times, and it's one I've recommended to almost everyone. It tells a tale as old as time, where two waging factions square off for control. A hero at the center of it all finds a solution, and of course, a blossoming romance between our hero and the other. It touches on themes of hatred, nature, life, humanity, environmentalism, and much more. There isn't much left that hasn't already been said about Princess Mononoke, but I'd like to take the time today to continue the tradition of honoring a film that truly deserves a regular conversation around its greatness. After all, this is YouTube, so let's wax poetic about one of humanity's greatest films, Princess Mononoke. The story begins and ends with the man in question, Hayao Miyazaki, the infamous Japanese animation director and artist. He began his career as an in-between artist for Toei Animation and collaborated with fellow master director Isao Takehata, which the two of them went on to create films like Nausicaa Valley of the Wind and eventually founding Studio Ghibli, the animation studio house that has produced many of the masterpieces we know today, including Princess Mononoke. But in my opinion, no other film stands out better in his filmography. A fable of a young boy and girl at crossroads with each other on two opposing ideas in the war raging between man and nature. Ashitaka is a boy cursed by the victims of man's cruelty. The forest gods are dying in a black plague of hatred and spreading it to anyone who destroys their land. Because only just recently, Lady Eboshi had killed the boar god, and now is using all the wood and resources for Irontown. The gods shown throughout the film are merely vessels of Miyazaki's philosophy on nature itself. The wolves are caring to their young, but kill enemies on sight. Then there's the absent gorillas, who are just here to pick up the pieces and rebuild the fallen forest. And the boar gods, who keep at bay any trespassers. They are all essential to the ecosystem's survival. Of course, there is predator and the prey, but in the middle of it all is of course the human race. They take what they can, constantly grow, and live their lives, but succumb to waste and pollution of their environment for their own local gain. It's clear in Princess Mononoke that neither the gods or humans are the villains of the story, for that Miyazaki believes that all things share good and evil, but we all have different needs and aspirations. Much like other films, for example James Cameron's Avatar, the humans are clearly evil and the Na'vi are portrayed as innocent. This form of storytelling has been done countless times, and it always ends with the same outcome. Romeo falls for Juliet, then joins her, battle ensues, one side lives happily ever after. But there's a quote from Miyazaki that shares this same thought. The concept of portraying evil and then destroying it. I know this is considered mainstream, but I think it is rotten. This idea that whenever something evil happens, someone particular can be blamed and punished for it, in life and in politics is hopeless. Hayao Miyazaki. End quote. This is exactly why Ashitaka bears the shadow mark on his arm, for he is the physical symbol of this very idea. We all inhabit evil within ourselves through our actions or thoughts. Ashitaka recognizes this as an outsider who has no stake in this war, an outcast that feels the need to help both sides. There will always be those who stand in the middle of a pointless war, but they are always the minority and have almost zero influence on the opposers. But Ashitaka aligns himself with both sides, choosing to help fight off the neighboring Ronin and defending the forest spirit. Not to be confused with the Kodamas, or spirits of the forest. Kodamas are rooted in ancient Japanese folklore. They were said to take the appearance of a tree, the physical soul of the forest. If one attempted to cut them down, they would be cursed. But in Princess Mononoke, they take the shape of little keepers who sing the chimes of the wind. The more Kodamas in the forest means the land is strong and growing, so that's why at the end of the film, a lone Kodama rises from the rubble to help the forest regrow and repeat the cycle once again. That very cycle of life is a staple throughout the film. We are told this battle has raged for generations, but the humans and gods never learn. Even at the end of the film, Mononoke tells Ashitaka this.
明日は好きだ。でも人間を許すことはできない。それでもいい。サンは森で
私はタタラ場で暮らそう。共に生きよう。会いに行くよ。ヤックルに乗って。
Even after all the conflict and the ultimate resolution, there is no happy ending. To Miyazaki, this is the cycle of life. Humans will never cease to exhaust resources, but together they can learn and hopefully pass it on to future generations. The idea of nature and its cycle of life is represented physically, known as the forest spirit, a godly entity that looks to be a deer or elk, but at dusk becomes the night walker, taking two forms much like the forest itself. To the citizens of Irontown, the forest spirit is just a myth, but to Lady Eboshi, the creature is the ultimate prize. Killing the spirit would therefore kill almost the entire forest in the process, a foolish and evil action to commit. But when the forest spirit is ultimately killed, the same dark curse lies in its wake, absorbing the entire land. Only the head of the spirit can retain what came before. Thus ends the cycle of life. Connecting the head back to the host is found in Japanese mythology. Even though the humans have killed the life of the forest, the cycle of life will always endure, for that the head of life will ultimately return. And for that, I thank you, Miyazaki, and all the films that you gave us during your time at Studio Ghibli. Lastly, I would like to say today's video was inspired by me rediscovering my old abandoned video essay channel, and the views it garnered for one of my first essays ever about Grave of the Fireflies. This video script was actually adapted from one I wrote back during that time and brought back today. Creating Studio Ghibli essays has always been an uphill battle thanks to the copyright system they created. And as the creator, I feel compelled to use the film's music and footage to really get across the majesty of these films. I have no doubt this video will also have a copyright claim during the process, and I'll eventually get the video out there, but I wanted everyone to know. I hope this video serves as a thank you to those who've watched that video many years ago and enjoyed my first try at the genre. Cheers to the future of this channel and video essays on the internet. I just hope YouTube creates a better system for this medium on the platform. But alas, thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next one.